Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the August Board of Ed Education meeting. And I'd like to start with everybody. Right? Are we good? Okay. Rising for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let's start with a roll call, please, Linda.
Mrs. Dorr? Here.
Just make sure your microphone's on. I'm sorry if you have a microphone. I'm sorry not to be a pain.
Here.
Mrs. Glidden?
Here.
Mrs. Levesque?
Here.
Mrs. McKay?
Here.
Mr. Votto?
Here.
Mrs. Castelli?
Here.
Mr. Bruder? And Mr. Reynolds?
Here.
So I'm assuming we have enough members present for moving forward.
We do.
Just checking. Thank you. Student board reps, obviously we're in summer mode, so we don't have any student reps tonight, but I believe they'll be joining us gleefully in next month. Next month, right?
Correct.
You look concerned, Dr. Manzo. Okay, so presentation of awards. Can we recognize our students who participated in the trip to Germany?
Yes, at this time, I would like to have Mr. Fleischman and Mr. Andresen, if they're here, to come on up. And I wanted to have them share a little bit about their trip this past June. They went the end of June to Germany. They came to the Board of Education to explain the trip that they were going to have. I believe all of you received potentially a postcard from students who traveled.
Yes.
So I wanted to turn it over to them, and then we're going to recognize the students who participated.
Welcome,
So,
gentlemen.
I don't know who's going first.
That's fine. How does it go? Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share and to be here, to get invited to all the board members. So to make it real short, this won't be long, is we were well prepared because first of all you sent us, you gave us permission, and the support must have contributed to the outcome because we had 0 incidents, which is for a first abroad trip a huge, I think it's a combination of preparation and luck, right? That's the honest truth.
I'm going to go with preparation. I'm going to go with preparation.
And luck. No, there was.
Okay, well,
So
we'll take the luck.
there were 3 highlights, right? We prepared, of course, all this. The students attend the school. First of all, we were greeted. Everything was well organized on the German side. The families were just gracious, wonderful. The hosting went amazingly wonderful, good. Friendships were made that last to this day, and people continue to visit, and long-term stays are planned that you will have to agree to, hopefully. Okay, that's so that's in the ropes. So with the families, we were very lucky. The school was incredibly hospitable. They were the first year they had a graduating class because they built up. It's a new school, and they had for the first year a graduating, like a senior class. A lot of stress on all the faculty, and we were right in the final month, final weeks. We saw the celebrations of an Abitur, which is this huge exam that you can actually fail and then not be able to go to university or college. So it's a different system. And so everybody was nervous, and things went really well. We experienced that. So there were 3 backdrops. One was, there was luck. The Euro Cup happened while we were there. So there were all these soccer events, public viewings, excitement. It was just amazing. So the students experienced that at home. They experienced that on the streets, in the public viewings, and so on. There was a huge second one, historic festival. If you can imagine that the whole town kind of dresses up, like a town the size of Wallingford, with almost, what was the number of performers? 1,000 people on stage in one night, a 4-hour performance that showed the history of the Staufen dynasty of 200 years. It was amazing, and they had tickets for the 2 of us. We were sitting, and yeah, the 3 of us. Is Nina here? Okay, she didn't make it, Mrs. Morrison. Anyhow, so this was the second thing you couldn't have planned. And the biggest one was the weather. It was miserable all summer in Germany except the 2 weeks when we were there.
Oh, really?
So,
Is that true?
yeah, it's true. So we were totally lucky with everything. So the excursions we had was one is to Munich, wonderful. We had bikes rented. We had great experiences there. We went to Neuschwanstein Castle. That's the Disney castle that everybody knows from the postcards. You might have gotten one of those.
We did.
Okay, and and we went to some local towns in Stuttgart. That's the home of Porsche and Mercedes-Benz. We went to the Mercedes-Benz Museum. Those were the highlights. So I want to keep it. It wasn't that short, but the interesting thing for me was, of course, I went there. My family said, "Don't speak any German to us," and I'm German. I said, "What's that?" "No, we want to learn English." So they made me speak English the whole time I was staying with them. That was kind of an interesting thing. And Mr. Andresen experienced everything like total newcomer, right? So it was so wonderful to be together, and what he saw was so different because I'm used to it, right? So maybe he should talk a little bit.
I just want to say three things, I suppose. First is I want to thank Nana Morrison, who is not coming. So she was our third chaperone. She's a parent. 2 of her daughters went on the trip, and they're here, and she was just fabulous as well, and she deserves some recognition. Second thing I want to talk about, I wouldn't exactly call it a highlight. I don't think it was a highlight for the students, but when I'm in this chamber, it reminds me of when we were in Muttlangen, the town we were staying in. We visited with the mayor, the Bürgermeister of Muttlangen, and this chamber reminds it. And we were sort of ambassadors of Wallingford, and we actually brought a pillow that the mayor of Wallingford gave us that said Wallingford on it, and we brought back gifts from the mayor of Muttlangen to the mayor here. So I thought that was sort of a highlight for me. I seriously doubt the kids were really that thrilled to be in the council chambers in Muttlangen. And the last thing I want to say is just our mission statement for the school district. The first words are to inspire, and I'd say that's exactly what this trip was about. I'm not sure that they mastered German because they've been in Germany for 2 weeks, but what I think has happened is definitely an inspiration to learn more of the language, to maintain a connection with people from another culture, and I think it was a tremendous learning experience. Thank you very much for your support.
Excellent. At this time, I'm going to ask you to read off if there are students who aren't.
So can I come up and just?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah,
up.
yeah. Can I come
The students, some students might not have been able to make it because there's still summer vacations going on, but we wanted to recognize all the students and make sure that all their names are announced because this is televised and it means a lot to families.
So I say the name and you
Yep, and then they'll come on up if you get called
Alex
up.
Bowman?
Say it one more time, just because we were talking.
Alex Bowman? Give me more.
Yeah, we'll keep it going, yeah.
Thank you so much. Ryan Carey.
Raina Ash. Like this. Thank you. Okay. Alexander Guido is not here, I know that. Okay. Okay. And Victoria. Here we go. Kulakovsky. So I say the name first. Okay, go there. Yes. Okay. Alyssa Lentin, she's here. Next one. Okay. Julia. Okay. Julia Mansfield. Is Andrew here? Andrew's not here. Okay. Next. Okay. Learning. Andrew Sabo. Martin is here, Martin Seibt. Okay. You already had. Is Julia here? He was expected. Okay, so Julius Cerner is not here, but we recognize him. And then RJ is not here either. Ronald Severson. Okay, this one. Zach here? No. Zach Silvestri. Zachary Silvestri. Skylar is not here either. Here we go. And Marley Esch. Here we go. Did we miss anybody? It's a big question. No? We're good? Okay.
I just wanted to say congratulations to all of you guys. I know how difficult being away from home can be, but I know it was also a great experience. And I wanted to thank, obviously, Mr. Fleischman, Mr. Andresen, and the other chaperone, Mrs. Morrison, for giving of their time, because it's certainly not a vacation. For them, they're all responsible for all of you to make sure you come home exactly the way you were sent to Germany. I know that while you were away, we were keeping track of everything also, and we were very pleased to get the pictures that Mr. Andresen had sent, and they were fantastic. And it just really is a life-changing experience for all of you, I'm sure, and I'm sure the stories you shared with your families have been exciting for them to hear. And hopefully this does, as Mr. Andresen said, really inspire you for future travels as well as future opportunities in this area. So congratulations, and we're really happy that we were able to have two educators and a parent willing to participate in such an activity for you. I didn't know if any of you wanted to make any comments or anything. It's because I know that the teachers shared their side, but sometimes there's always another side to it. So I just wanted to give you an opportunity. You don't have to. There's no requirement to speak whatsoever. No requirement to speak. Going once.
Go for it.
There we go. I knew there was one, at least one person.
Mr. Fleischman likes to sign me up for things.
Tell us.
Okay.
Tell us your story.
Okay. It was really cool. It was a great opportunity. We made a lot of new friends, and I don't know, I can't really describe how close we got with the people that we were staying with. You're staying with them and their family, and you become a part of their family. And my family, my dad met us over there, and so we did a family vacation afterwards. And during that family vacation, we came back and saw the family that I stayed with, and we spent a night with them. And it was just really nice, and I came back to the town, and I felt like I was home. And, it was really cool to stay there and be part of their lives for a little while.
So I'm curious, can I ask you a question? Mm-hmm. So when your family joined you, you had already been over there, right?
Yeah.
So you were able to show them around.
Yeah.
You were the expert.
Yeah, it was cool.
How'd that feel?
It was cool, because my sister was on the trip with me, and my mom was a chaperone. So our dad came, and we were able to say oh, this is the town, and here's this down the street, and we can walk to the supermarket and show him everything. And it's really different there. And he's been to Germany before, but it was really cool to show him the town and everything.
You were up for it.
Yeah.
Good for you. Great job.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Carey.
And as Mr. Fleischman said, the weather was great. And like Raina and Marley, my parents came over to meet me in Germany. And we went back to Neuschwanstein Castle. But when they came with me to the castle, the weather was terrible. It was pouring and raining, and it was so cloudy you couldn't see anything. And the day we were there with our first trip, the weather was beautiful. We could do everything. We took out boats on a lake at the bottom of the castle, and the weather was just so nice, and that really made our experience even better.
I just have a question. Andrew, you didn't get to go? Okay, all right, well, that's good. All right, you did get to go to Germany, but okay, good. I'm just making sure I have to look out for the younger sibling, because being one myself, I always got shortchanged. So I just wanted to check out for you, buddy, over there. So congratulations to all of you again. I truly appreciate all of your effort, and obviously the educators involved and the parent who chaperoned. This is a great tribute to our district. I know what it means to be away, and I know what it means to do this because we just got back last Monday from China. a group of students, which we'll honor next month and recognize for their work. So it is really a great opportunity, and the more that we can do of this in our district, the better, and we're very fortunate we have a Board of Education that supports opportunities like this. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. McKay.
Yes, thank you for that. So a couple of comments, and I was thinking about this evening. I just came back from a little trip to Maryland. Nothing as exotic as you guys. But I was thinking about this, and on behalf of the Board of Education, I want to thank a few members here. First off, your mission, you're right, our mission is to inspire. And you know what? We couldn't inspire if we didn't have educators and parents that didn't support that same vision, and that students saw an opportunity there. So how blessed are we? I am awestruck, frankly, on behalf of the Board of Ed to say that we have these opportunities that we can afford our students, but if we didn't have educators and parents that didn't share the same vision that we have to inspire and to offer these opportunities to travel abroad, it wouldn't exist. So I thank you. I thank you as educators. I thank you as mom and dads. And thank you as students that you're willing to embrace our mission statement, frankly, which is to inspire and to go and do something really cool and unique. And this is now something that you will always remember, right? I mean, what a unique opportunity. And I'm so glad the weather and everything supported it. But shame on me, and I want to thank our administrative staff too, frankly. I mean, it all feeds in, and we couldn't make it happen without everybody clicking along on everybody's cylinders that supports the same mission and the same idea, and I see heads nodding, so thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, Board of Ed could say, this is our mission and this is where our vision is, but if we didn't have all the moving parts that supported it, and I can't even imagine what it must be like to chaperone students abroad. I know Dr. Menzo just came back from China. It wouldn't happen. And I want to thank all of you for your lovely, lovely postcards. The postcard I got, I'm like, I'm still trying to teach my 21 and 23-year-old to do thank you notes. So to get a postcard like that was phenomenal. Thank you. You did a great job, and I think you had a great experience. And again, all the parties I've acknowledged, you guys make it happen. It's easy for us. You're the one that entrusts your children to us and to these educators and to these sponsors. We couldn't do it without you. So everybody, educators, families, thank you for your support. And this is our mission. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, and these, Jim.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to give you, I will give all I would love for all of you to stay, but I appreciate it is the last week before school starts. So I'll give the audience an opportunity, no negative feelings. If you want to skedaddle out, this is your opportunity. I appreciate that. So this is your opportunity. Thank you. Thanks for all coming. Thank you. Thanks, mom and dads. Congratulations. Meanwhile, are there any questions from the audience? This is our question and answer period. Any questions from the audience? Okay, I'm going to assume there's no questions. With that, can I get a motion to go into executive session for the discussion of candidate for teaching positions as well as discussion of candidate for high school coaching position?
So moved.
Second.
I have a first and second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstention, motion carries. We are now in executive session. Okay, we are back. Can I get a motion to come out of executive session?
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
I have a first and second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention. We are officially out of executive session. Thank you. Item 7, consent agenda. Can I get a motion to accept consent agenda items 7.1 through 7.4?
So moved.
Need a second.
Second.
A first and second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. We have item 8, items removed from the consent agenda. We have none, so we will move right along. Mr. Votto, do we have any correspondence tonight?
Yes, we do. We received notice from both principals of Highland and Yalesville that the PTO donated $6,000 to each school. So we thank them for all their efforts. I'm sure the principals do too.
Right, great job. Thank you. Thank you for that. Item number 10, committee reports, and I'm guessing we have minimal. Obviously, we're in summer mode. ACES,
No
no
report, no
report,
meeting.
not a problem. Wintergreen Magnet, no report. School to Career Business Think Tank,
We're meeting
Sacramento?
September 9th. That's
Okay,
our first meeting.
perfect.
And actually, at
I-
that meeting, there'll be a presentation by the students who went to China regarding
Oh,
the business
awesome.
partnership with UTC.
perfect, perfect. Yeah, again, we're in summer mode, so for TV land, it's not unusual. PTAC, obviously, no.
September 20th is our
Yes,
first
thank
meeting.
you for that. Actually, Lyman Hall Athletic Complex, do we have an update or no?
Yes, and actually, I'll begin, and then Mr.
Yeah,
DePula can
Mark, if you
go
want.
from there, just to help support the conversation, because there is an agenda item that you'll see later, 13.2. We were made aware, and I still haven't heard back from the mayor on this, but we were made aware recently through happenstance, not through direct communication from the town hall, that the town had submitted with the state for reimbursement on the painting of the track to allocate the $250,000 that was recently allocated, which we believed was for part 2 of the athletic complex project. Mark can explain how he found out by going to town hall, but I did contact the State Department, and we were somewhat confused because it had been clearly stated to us that such use of the funds was prohibited. And actually, when we went to the town hall, Mark received a memo that stated that. However, subsequent to that memo from the state to the town hall, a representative from the town hall had sent a letter to the state saying that they didn't agree with that finding. And since the project had not been complete, they believed that the $250,000 could be used towards the lining and painting of the track. The person at the State Department basically said in an email to me that it was going to be in the town's hands since the paperwork had already been filed with the state. I was, again, somewhat perplexed because we had the conversation where he said that the project the money could not be used to a project that had already been started. It had to go to a new project. And I thought we had resolved that, and Representative Mashinsky had been very integral in that process. But it appears at this time that a change of heart had occurred on the part of the state. So at this point, it appears that we are going to have to, and part of our agenda item here is to discuss the reallocation of contingency funds to cover the costs that are required to prepare the track in terms of equipment that we were looking to use the $250,000 for. So we're going to be coming to you this evening as a part of Agenda 13.2 to request approximately $89,000 or $80,000 or so for completion of some equipment in that area.
Yes. Mike.
So at this point, we're discussing the stuff that you just talked about. The item lower is just to discuss where we're going to get the money from. Is that correct?
Exactly. So the discussion, the situation is such that, again, we were under the impression, and Mark could explain, he went to the town hall. I don't want to take his whole story, but he went to the town hall to ascertain how he can request the $250,000, and
That's exactly what I did. I went to see Jim Bowes, and I inquired because I assumed to do a second phase or any additional work, we'd have to seek council approval. Jim then informed me that no, indeed, that money was being used. And I was very unsure of what he was talking about. I said, well, does Don Rowe know more about it? I went to see Don Rowe. Don gave me a letter that he sent to the state, I think 5 days after the letter that we received, stating that it was on administrative hold and that they couldn't use the money. And Don was going to forward more information to me, but I have not received that information yet. I'm sure he will get that information to me eventually, but apparently it was some backup from the state. So as it stands right now, the project as it was designed and approved, the first phase is complete. The track was coated, the track was painted this summer, and with the exception of a couple of punch list items, the project is indeed complete.
Okay,
I was-
I'm going to, you want me to go with
wasn't
Mike
really
first and
I
then
wanted-
Kathy?
I just need a better clarification. So what you're saying is the money that was spent or earmarked for Phase 1 was not that $250,000, correct?
No, phase 1 was already approved by the town council.
It was approved by the town council that they were going to bond that,
Correct.
Right.
Is that-
Or finance it.
finance it somehow. And there must be obviously a record of that where they took a vote.
Yes, they took a vote on that in town council chambers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that should have been a done deal. But what you're telling me now is that they really did not do that? They used
No,
the
no,
two?
no, they did. They did do that. The $250,000, the new money that became available mid-year.
For the second
For
phase,
the
supposedly.
second, well, additional money that was allocated to the project is now being used to offset the expenditures for the first phase of the project. So say, for example, the first phase was over $2 million. So this money was being allocated to reduce the cost to the town.
But it shouldn't have been. It should have been
However-
earmarked for Phase 2.
It should, the way we understood it, and it wasn't just Mark and myself, but the way everyone that it was explained to was the fact that, and according to the memo that we received from the state, that money could not be used to offset expenditures for the project that already started. However, and we only received these again because Mark requested them. These weren't sent to me, CC'd as a superintendent of the school district. These were just sent to, we only got these upon request. Mr. Rowe sent a letter to the gentleman from the state saying that he disagreed, and therefore he was asking for the money to be allocated to the initial project. The paperwork for that money to be allocated for the initial project has been submitted to the state on behalf of the town by the mayor's office. Again, we were not made aware of that.
That was my next question. You weren't told about any of this stuff?
We were not made aware of that. So I did reach out to the mayor when it came to my attention last week. He was on vacation last week, so was Mr. Rowe. And so today is Monday. I have not heard. I was in meetings all day today. I was looking to call the mayor again tomorrow. I think that I understand the rationale for wanting to utilize the money to reduce the debt to the town. I totally understand that. And I think that is on some levels justifiable. I think the fact is that we just needed to be aware of it is the part that, again, oversights occur, people are very busy, and I know that there's no blame to be placed. It's just that we now are left with a tough situation because we do have resources that need to be procured in order for a track season to occur in a timely manner come this spring. So many of the items, as have been delineated in your agenda, require us to go out to bid. So we don't have the time to debate the $250,000 usage because we can't put another track season in abeyance for our students. They're the first and foremost, most important thing on this discussion tonight. So in order for Mark to do his due diligence by making sure bids go out, and they need to go out within the next month because we have to have product on site by January, we really need to make that happen. We've already purchased goalposts for the football field, correct?
Soccer
Field.
field hockey
sorry.
goals.
Soccer and field hockey. So those have already been purchased, and that's taken care of. Goalposts are up, sorry. So that's already been taken care of. So we don't have any issues with those seasons, but we just don't want to put the students in the middle of this discussion. So that's why we're coming to you tonight with that. there'll be ongoing conversations, I'm sure, with Town Hall, and I'm sure it was an oversight, that not meant to be disrespectful in any means or any manner to myself or the board. I think it was just summer, sometimes things slip through the cracks. So we'll take one step at a time, and I'm sure we'll go through this. But again, I understand the desire to reduce the bonding or to reduce the funding and the debt to the town. I get that. It's just the communication was probably not as clear as it could have been.
So, so you're being more forgiving, Sal, than I can be. I'm sorry. I clearly understood that Phase 1, which included the field, the lighting, the track, and other peripheral things such as fencing, was all going to be bonded. That was approved by the council.
And it was.
Subsequent to that approval, we then received notification that we were being granted the $250,000 that we would then, as a Board of Ed, be able to use for Phase 2. So I'm very disappointed in what has occurred.
Oh, we too share that disappointment, and I shared my disappointment directly with the state because I was very confused as to the change of heart, and it was really just volleyed back, saying that it was a town issue that we had to deal with. So.
And the other thing was, I personally contacted Mary Mashinsky when this whole issue arose initially with respect to how that money could be spent, and she followed through and confirmed to us it could not be used for work that was underway. So why that got switched, I don't know, but very confusing and very disappointing.
Because we did the research together. She did it on her own, I did it on mine, and we came to the same conclusion. So I too was very confused when I heard about this.
So if we're taking the $250,000, right, which is really earmarked for Phase 2, right, and then we're putting it on Phase 1, what about the $250,000 for Phase 2? Where's that coming from?
There is no more Phase 2.
There is
Oh,
no
there is,
Phase 2.
okay.
It's going to, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's disappointing on many levels.
Yeah.
Any other board members want to weigh in before I weigh in? Yeah, and I get it's summertime and things fall between the cracks, but I want to go on record as saying I am equally disappointed that the Board of Ed was not notified or consulted. Discussions weren't had, and this is a change in what we understand were the parameters of the project. So, you know, without saying anything more, there's nothing more to say, but a sense of disappointment and confusion, frankly, as far as what were the procedures and opportunities afforded us.
I guess the only last thing I would say is that I'm just pleased that if the state does agree to this, that we don't lose the money.
Correct.
That's my biggest,
Fair
that was
enough.
my gravest concern, is that $250,000.
That's a fair statement.
You know, Representative Mashinsky worked so hard
Right.
to acquire on behalf of the town doesn't get lost, because that would be a tremendous disappointment if that funding
Right.
was lost. So as long as the money is there, it ends up helping the town in the long run. No pun
I
intended with
think,
the
though,
track. But
I mean, Dr. Menzo, to your point, though, I think we all were under the understanding that the hard work of Mrs. Mashinsky provided us with an expanded opportunity for our athletic field, and that seems to not be the reality as a result. But, yep, go ahead, Mike.
When did all this come to light?
the,
When Mark went to the town hall to do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was that like within the last 2 weeks, a month ago?
I think it was the day Sal left for China or the day before.
Do you think at this point, members of the town council know this is happening?
Yeah, we can't
We don't
speak
know.
to
can't
that.
say.
We don't know.
I can't say.
I mean, that's something we could look into, certainly.
Yes,
I'm
we do.
sorry.
I think we need to.
Yeah, I don't, Mr. Levack said, obviously, we are at town council tomorrow night, but I'm not sure,
I think it's best, if I may recommend,
Yeah,
that
I'm not
I continue to
looking
reach
to-
out to the mayor. I know it was his first day back today, and I'm sure he was
Right.
inundated with a lot of,
Right.
of topics. So I'd like to reach out to him, because we have very open lines of communication. And so I'm sure something went awry. So I want to reach out to him, have that conversation.
Agreed.
And then proceed from there, out of respect to him, because I truly feel our relationship is one that is based on respect, and I want to
Agreed.
continue that.
Agreed. But you are, can we get for, and I understand under
Yeah.
item 13.2, you are looking for us to
Take action.
take action, and well, we can cover that and discuss it if board members have any questions about the specificity of that under our operations committee 13.2. What are the ramifications? What does it mean? You know, all that associated to making to actually voting one way or the other. Is everybody okay with that? And I think board members who wanted to weigh in, you comfortable? Anybody else? Everybody's good? Okay. Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Dr. Menza. Okay. Plan of conservation development, I know there's no updates, and that's formulating as we go. Food Service Strategic Plan Committee?
We have nothing at this point.
Okay, fair enough. Old business, item 11, we do not have any. Item 12, Instructional Committee. Mr. Shea.
Thanks, Roxanne.
No problem.
I have only one item, approval of appointment of candidate to a teaching position. I make a motion that the Board of Education approve the appointment of the following candidate to a teaching position for the 2016-17 school year contingent upon proper Connecticut certifications as recommended by the superintendent of schools.
I second the motion.
Thanks. Moses Y. Beach Elementary School, Grade 1, Matthew Hills. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries.
Thank you. Perfect, thank you. Item 13, Operations Committee. I'm going to defer to Mrs. Glidden.
Thank you. So item 13-1 is the approval of tuition rates. So I'd like to make a motion that pursuant to the Board of Education policy, the following 2016-2017 tuition rates are recommended for board approval. For elementary, $11,852, middle school, $12,410, and high school, $13,573.
Second.
I have a second. Is there any discussion?
A question? Our budget is about $100 million, right? And we have about 6,000 students. So if I just do the simple math, it's about 14,000 a student. But none of these, all these numbers are lower than that. Is there a reason for that?
I will defer actually to, I was going to introduce him, Ed Aram, who's our interim business manager, is here tonight.
Hi.
So
Welcome.
I will defer to Ed.
Yeah, when you do the tuition rates, we don't have the final figures from the state because we do the EDO 1 for 15-16. We always use the 14-15 aggregated costs that are listed in the town and on your website. So that's what we use.
Gotcha. But really, right, I mean, if somebody were to, my thought is just, you know, if somebody in the community asks, geez, how much do we spend per child in education? It's roughly 100 million divided by about 6,000 students, right?
Yes.
So my math is right,
But you
somewhere around
don't include
14,000.
special ed costs
Yeah.
or transportation costs, because these are tuition kids coming in, so we don't, if there's an extra special ed, then we charge that person extra for that.
So these are base tuition costs, so we don't include transportation into this aggregate. We're not allowed to at this point, and also special ed. So if a student does come in with special ed, that's a different.
They get charged a different.
Comes in from out of the community?
Correct.
Yes.
But
These are
the
tuition
community
costs.
doesn't reimburse us, wherever the student lives doesn't
No,
reimburse
this is
us for it?
paid for by the student. So like, for example, we have one student who is choosing to come to Wallingford Public Schools instead of their present school district. The parents are paying this, not the school district.
But why wouldn't the parents pay the whole $14,000?
Well, because they might not have special ed services.
Oh, I got you. You separate the special.
Right,
Yeah, we
yeah,
have-
I got you. I got
If
you.
a child has a
we're not
PTI, all
allowed-
of a sudden, we charge them
So
differently.
these are for, this excludes
Regular ed.
special ed. I
We're
got
not
you.
allowed to
Yeah, I
charge
got
them
you.
for that.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm all
Any-
set. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, item 13-2, discussion and possible consensus of the usage of funds from contingency for the Lyman Hall Athletic Complex in the amount of $87,900.
Yes, so as we started the conversation, we are coming here to you tonight because we need to have these items purchased in order to move forward with the track season. The field sound system, which is the last one, obviously, that's something we would like to have done sooner. However, it's going to be later in the season. We do have something that could accommodate the sound system right now. This was to update it. So we're looking to have the funds from contingency be allocated to cover the costs of these expenditures.
Okay, so can I ask a question? Were these priorly, in a prior mode, the 87.9, included under what we thought were the, okay, you answered.
They were going to be part of the phase
The
two.
250.
Part of the
that.
$250,000
Okay.
recommendation.
Right, yeah.
Are some of these items, do we have some of these items but just in need of being replaced, or do we actually need everything on this list now?
Lyman Hall hasn't hosted state meets, I believe, and I could be wrong about this, it's not my specialty, so they're lacking equipment. If you look in the storage sheds over there, you won't see a whole bunch of hurdles and everything, and if they did have anything, it was enough for the old track, not the new 8-lane track.
So you mean to tell me all the stuff they used for the old track was thrown away?
No, it wasn't there. There's very
What did they
little.
use?
I don't know that they.
Maybe I shouldn't be asking you this.
Yeah,
but-
that's.
Well, but think about
beyond me.
it, we haven't hosted or used this for track and field for at least a year to 2 seasons,
Two
not years,
seasons,
but seasons. So, you know, you have to think about that.
But why would we throw this? Why would we not have the stuff?
Well, I don't think it's a matter of throwing
We
it
have
away.
probably enough desks and chairs and stuff hanging around old ones. Why wouldn't we
Right.
have these things?
The thing is that there's a couple of things. First of all, there's a difference between this hosting a state meet and a regular meet. So there's different requirements.
All right.
And also some of the equipment with a new track, the age, from what I understand of some of the previous equipment, you wouldn't want to put on a new track and the potential of damaging the new track.
The
when you-
hurdles that I've seen are
look like
are
crap.
worn out. They're really beat up. It's not something I typically run across because those hurdles are kept in storage trailers. The only time they come out is for meets. We don't purchase athletic equipment, so it's not something that I normally deal with. But what I've seen firsthand, most of their equipment was probably in worse condition than the facility.
Okay.
So it needs updating.
Mrs. McKay, my concern is that, as Dr. Menzel stated, he's going to be approaching the mayor and talking to the mayor, maybe getting a clearer picture of what happened with the other funds. Therefore, I don't think I'm ready to vote for this. I'm not anyway, and I won't. And not only that, because of that work that he is planning to do, but I also don't like digging into contingency unless it's absolutely needed, and maybe we won't have to if he has that talk with the mayor.
The only thing I want to make clear to Mr. Votto, in terms of my email interchange with the state, they did not leave me with much doubt that they're going to approve.
They didn't what?
They did not leave me with doubt, any doubt, that they were going to approve the town's request to use the $250,000 to offset expenditures from the first phase.
Right.
So
and
I just want to make that,
But wasn't
because
that
I totally agree, and I talked.
So why can't we ask the town council for $87,900? Why do we have to take it out of our
Well,
contingency?
so this is my concern.
But
This
I
is
just
my,
don't want to make this. I don't
this
wanna
is my
kick-
concern, okay? Can I?
Yeah, go for
And, you know, I appreciate where you're coming from, Mike, and I feel the same frustration, clearly, as you do. But this is my concern. We could hold this up, and we could debate, and we could talk about this, but in the meanwhile, who's the losers? Our students. Our students are unable to participate because we've just been told the equipment is not available to them. And I hate to say that, you know, I'm not using our students as hostage, if you will, but the fact of the matter is our students are not able to effectively compete if they don't have this equipment.
I'm trying
And
to separate those two.
I appreciate that. I totally do, Mike, but honestly, you can't. You can, but you can separate it. But the truth of the matter is, if we don't purchase these items, our students are left out. And I'm not trying to guilt you into this because I feel your same frustration and I am concerned as you are. But and you have to vote the way you have to vote, and I respect that, I do. But I just also have to make that statement that our students are going to be stuck. I mean, if they don't have this equipment, what are they going
Why
to do?
can't we use that same argument in front of the town council?
We can, but
And we still have some time.
But we don't, though. I guess that's not what I'm
I think
hearing.
in terms, because I talked to purchasing on Friday, and they said that, because I was trying to better understand why some of these items weren't considered instructional, since they're used in physical education class. And therefore, some items can be considered instructional and not required to go out to bid. So that's why I was trying to look at some of these items. For example, we have, the quantity is the challenge. It's not the individual cost. In purchasing, they stated that they would all have to go out to bid. They did not see them as instructional. So the challenge is that to get a bid through purchasing, first of all, will take us 4 weeks to at least get the bid through purchasing. So now we're looking at the end of September. Then you go out to bid for a month. We're looking at the end of October. Then we're awarding the bid, and we need the product in hand.
So you have to go out for bid for each of these?
Anything that will, like the first
Over-
one, the first one, anything that's over $7,000.
7,000.
So we have, there's 3 of them that require the bidding.
2, 3, 4.
4 of them,
Actually,
excuse me.
4 items.
Additionally, we have to go through hoops. This is just very frustrating to me.
Or jump hurdle.
I think you just have to go
Jump
over the
hurdle,
bar.
very good.
right? You have to go through hoops. According to the first one, you just have to go over the bar.
He beat me to it.
But yeah, we can make all sorts of funds. Yeah, we're all frustrated.
And I don't, please,
We know
Yeah.
we know where
children
you're
are
Not where
first
we-
and foremost
of
with me
course,
too.
of
But
course
I don't
not.
like being put in this position.
I couldn't agree more.
It's just not right. And, it's very easy to say we have money in contingency for whatever we need it for, which is, and you know how I feel about that.
I
But
agree.
here it is August, and already we're talking about taking money out of contingency. That bothers me. We don't know what's ahead this coming year.
It's very true.
And for something that you do such a great job with this budget and planning, and it's like a slap in the face, and that just annoys me.
So I want to recognize, I've got Kathy and then Karen and then Shauna. So go ahead,
I
Kathy.
just want to point out the fact this is $87,900. Where's the rest of the $250,000 going to come from?
I can't help you with that one today.
Right,
Right.
agreed.
Karen and then Shauna.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. What is the current amount in contingency?
We're looking for the finalized number. The original amount we started with was $321,124.
Say that again, 320?
$321,124.
Thank you.
And where are we with class sizes? And do we anticipate adding more teachers before the
present-
beginning of school?
At the present time, we believe we're in a good place. We did add an additional teacher, but we also had a reallocation of a staff, so we believe that's a wash. So we don't believe that there's any money necessary to be taken from contingency, and we also do put in contingency then if we needed additional teachers. So we are in a good place with that. Right now, the enrollment did go up. The good news, it went up in places where we had a little room for it to go up, which is always a good thing. And we continue. We just got a call from somebody from California who's looking to move to Wallingford. So
The other question I have is, what are these 3-foot extensions? Are they for the pole vaulting equipment itself or for the standards? Do we have any information?
I have the. Unfortunately, my document doesn't have that extensive backup. I can be certain to get that back to you, but unfortunately, I don't
Okay.
have that with me.
Thank you.
You all set? Okay. Shauna?
Dr. Menzo, would it be possible for us to discuss maybe just approving the items that have to go out to bid and then waiting on the other items until next month?
That would be acceptable to me. I would look to Mr. Deptula if he thinks that's okay.
That would be fine.
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
So the reason that we're in such a pinch to approve
Sure.
this tonight
Sure.
without much more knowledge about it is that items have to go out to bid, and that's a hard timeline.
Right.
Only 4 of these items have to go out to bid. So maybe the members of the board might feel more comfortable only approving the amount for those items that have to
Gotcha.
go out to bid instead
That
of
don't have
everything
to go
else.
out to bid?
Yeah.
So minus 1, 2, 3, 4 items. So to your recommendation, Shauna, that would be approving everything but the pole vault pit, the high jump pit, and collegiate hurdles, navy blue, and field sound system. Is that what I just want to make sure, hold me honest, Board of Ed members, that I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah.
So anything over 7,000, that would go out to bid. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, we're looking at like 13,000 off of the 87.9.
Say that again, Kath?
It's around 13,000 I came up with that you would be cutting off.
Well, that's not true, because it's 30, well, roughly, the pole vault
No,
pit.
2,800 and 3,200 is 6,000.
The total request would be 75,200.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make, it's
Oh,
inconsequential.
So to me,
Well, I guess if we're, because I have a feeling that, and I understand where we're in and where we are with the students and the timeline and stuff like that. I have a feeling that if we approve taking this money out of contingency, that our argument may fall flat when it comes to town council. And I don't think we're going to get that money. That's just my gut feeling in regards to that. And that's, a decision we have to make, obviously, but I don't know.
Want to say that? Sure. Well, I don't know. Go ahead.
Wait till
make
the
that.
discussion, if the discussion is over.
Can you?
Well, I'm just wondering if there are any more points to be made on this issue, or if it's the board's pleasure to table this motion to the next meeting.
But what's the impact on our students by doing that?
I guess
That's my
I just
concern.
get very, very concerned with anything that has to go out to bid, because the timeline for bidding is a very protracted timeline. And I get very concerned. And I do not want to be sitting here in December saying that the bids could not go out and we don't have a track season because of a delay.
And these folks have endured a lot. I do need to go on record in saying the track and field folks, the families that, they didn't have a field last year. I mean, we have really burdened this community, if you will, at Lyman Hall, based on, nobody's fault, but, the construction, I would like to move it along as quickly as possible out of respect for these students, and I get where you're coming from, Shauna, but I also do want to respect that these people have done without now for more than 1 or 2 seasons, so I worry about that, but Kathy?
I just want to say, I think our town council members are good guys, basically. They're good guys. And if we go ahead and approve this 87.9 tonight, they're not in the same, under the same parameters that the state is, where the state says, if you've completed the work, you can't use the grant. We can complete the work, and the town council can reimburse us. And I think we have some very knowledgeable and well-meaning representatives on our town council who, if we present our case, as I know we will, with Sal at the helm, I think that they will be reasonable enough to see that if they chose to reimburse us, they would reimburse us regardless of whether we approved that expenditure tonight or not.
My only concern, going back to Ms. Levesque's point, is the fact that if we totally controlled the process from this point forward, I'd be comfortable saying, let's wait a month. But I don't control the whole process.
Okay.
And that's a challenge. I'm just being honest.
So if I may, it seems like it's just a matter of a 24-hour period, though. I think that's what also has me a little on edge. Town council meets tomorrow, you're waiting for a call back. from the
We're not
mayor.
on the agenda
not
for
on the
this.
agenda.
That's not going to come up tomorrow night.
Yeah.
That's not an agenda item. That's not an option for us. You need to,
All I can do is make a
understand, but
public comment.
you're gonna have a conversation with the mayor probably in the next 24 hours, I'm assuming.
but that
Well, I
doesn't help
can't-
us for a for a town council meeting. The agenda is set for tomorrow night.
I understand that, I was trying to
Yeah, go ahead.
I was trying to get somewhere with that.
Go ahead.
So if you get something from the mayor that says, that changes this kind of situation, and we don't even have to go to the council, I don't know, we could have a special meeting in a week, even if we don't do it tonight. I just feel like it's a little rushed, and I think that some other
I guess
people-
my point is that I don't mean to be a fatalist, because many people who know me, I am totally always the glass is more than half full. If there's a change in this, I would be very, very surprised. So I'll be happy to do whatever you would like me to do. And I will call the mayor tomorrow and talk to him. But I think we will be scheduling another board meeting, and we might as well do that after this meeting to get that done, because I do not want to be the superintendent, nor do you want to be the board members who are sitting here in December telling a group of students that they don't have the equipment for
Exactly.
a track season.
Yeah.
Well, and I would
It's
absolutely.
not worth it, because you will be the only one sitting here, not the mayor,
That's right.
not the town council.
That's right.
Not Don Rowe. It'll be you, me, Mark.
Yeah.
And I understand that and appreciate that, and I see where
I'm
everyone's coming
fine.
from, but I'm seeing a week, I don't think if that, is that gonna upset the bid process that much?
Not
And-
doing
You never know on vacation schedules, so, but I will definitely, the week is fine. We'll make that work. And, because we do have an instructional committee meeting, so we could do it right before that.
Okay. And I don't know
Gotcha.
how everybody else feels about that.
I agree.
It's 2 weeks, but that shouldn't kill us.
Wait, hold on. Wait a minute, everybody. Okay, I'm going to get Mike. Go ahead, Mike, and then I'll get Jay. Go ahead. Nope. No, that's fine. Go.
No, I just told her I agree, so that's,
Okay. I'm sorry. Jay?
I'd prefer to vote on it tonight. I have the confidence that Sal will handle it as best can be handled from here forward, even with us, after
Well,
us approving it. It's my view.
Okay, so, yes, Kathy.
I agree with Jay. I'd like to do it tonight.
Well, yes, well, you clearly articulated that, and I get that. And I think you have a vote of confidence in the town council that if they see this to be something they'd vote on, they're going to vote on and help us out. But I hear what you're saying. So, okay, I've got to think about this. Where are we? Are we comfortable? I'm sorry. Go ahead,
I have
Karen.
another question. So this money is not in hand?
This money is going to come from
It's
our
in our budget.
contingency.
No.
Yeah, it's in our budget.
No, the money that if we choose to vote it out of contingency, I'm not talking about that money. I'm talking about the money that's coming from the state.
It's gone.
The 250,000.
Right. When do we anticipate getting that? Or someone getting it?
I do not have
that's what I mean, we're jumping.
an indication of that.
But it doesn't really matter because that monies are not available for this.
Right.
So the way that oftentimes projects like this work with the state, they could be in reimbursement. So you would spend the money and then get reimbursed for the project because it's part of the
Right,
process.
I understand that. But
So
what is the usual length of time that it takes for the reimbursement?
It depends on where it's coming from. I mean, reimbursements, like we have these safety grants, those come relatively quickly. We're talking within 6 to 8 weeks of everything being presented to them, which is pretty quick. This is coming from a different department, so I'm not certain. Most of the large building project grants, those go to the town, so we wouldn't have an experience with getting reimbursements at the building level or at the district level.
Well, I think the question is, with what we have in contingency and then taking this amount out, do you feel comfortable that that's enough of a margin for us to keep in contingency?
We haven't even started the school year. So I think that asking me that question, it's a loaded question. If I knew the answer to that, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Right, I think, I mean, certainly we all want the students to have what they need
I think that
to compete and be
the
successful, but
answer to any question like that is that $87,900, if we can't accommodate that in a $100 million budget,
Right.
As you yourself have said before, and every board member has said in some way, shape, or form, then we have bigger issues to worry about.
Right.
So I think what we need to do is we need to look at this from that perspective. We've done my first year here. I don't think we have to do a hard freeze for $87,000, but if we had to freeze something, if it came to that, we would make it happen. I think that if we do this, if we do take action on this, be it tonight or next week, or 2 weeks from now, and we want to have continued conversations with the town council, even if we came to an agreement that we came up for some reason short $87,900, that they were willing to float us that to cover it, I think there's conversations there. But again, if this were $800,000,
Right.
Well, that would be a
then I would
different
have apoplexy, and we wouldn't have been brought this forward. But 87, and I'm not saying we have a padded budget by any means. I'm not saying that we have fluff, but I'm just saying that if we have to tighten our belt straps a little bit, then we'll do that to accommodate this. But to say that definitively I feel comfortable or not, I'm not getting painted in that corner.
Okay, wait a minute. I've got Mike, and then I've got Shauna, and then I've got Amanda. Go ahead, Mike.
You know, I sort of respectfully disagree because I feel that we're jumping here, and I think we're making a hasty decision. I understand what you're saying, but it's the principle of it. And I think we need a better clarification of exactly what happened, how to resolve that, can it be resolved, and get a better picture or understanding of that. And I think somebody needs to talk to Representative Mushinsky and see if she has a take on this, and if she could do some homework on it. This doesn't necessarily have to take a month to do all this. This could be done in a week or two. I'm not saying just with you, but...
If it's a priority of everyone involved, yes. And that's where I made my comment that if I controlled the whole process, then I would agree with you. I could get this done in 24 hours. But if I don't have control of all of the process, then I'm not certain how long it will take. That's my only challenge, and those are always opportunities for growth that we experience every time that we face these situations.
All I'm suggesting is that we give it a shot. We always have special board meetings where we could vote on this. In fact, this Thursday, I believe we have a special board meeting to do something. So, I mean, it come up, and I think we can do something about it. I just say take a shot and find out what you can find out before we take a vote.
Okay, so I've got Amanda, and then I've got Shauna, and then Jay and Kathy. So I just want to make sure everybody knows they're in the queue that I think. Go ahead,
All right,
go ahead,
I have a
Amanda.
question. How many students does this affect? How
The
many
track
students-
team is usually over 100 students are involved.
Thank you. Just I'm trying to wrap my head around all this.
Okay, so Amanda, you good, Amanda? All right, Shauna?
So I just, the contingency number you gave us, a 321,124, did that factor in the amount that we were over budget? Remember in June or July, we approved the health and wellness coordinator position, the social worker, and the after-school programs, and we were going to take some of that money out of contingency?
Yeah, we factored everything.
I just wanted to...
Yeah, what I want to do is the contingency number, for whatever reason, it's not in my file that I put together. So I will make sure that we have that for you. I believe our contingency is higher than 321 because I think we added more money into contingency based on, I think, a discussion where Mr. Votto spoke about his always concern about keeping that. So my recollection is that it's closer to $400,000, 390, 420 in that area. But unfortunately, I don't have that document with me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Jay?
I'm okay for now.
You sure? Okay, Kath?
And I just want to let Mike and the rest of the board know I have reached out to Mary Mashinsky already. She is aware of this and she is researching it.
Okay, thank you. Karen, did you have a?
No, if indeed the contingency is a little bit higher, I would feel a little more comfortable with the.
Yeah, no, I believe it is. I think actually in the spirit of the conversation, and while I would love to have a decision made tonight, I would just say that, and I appreciate Mr. Shea's support and all of your support. I know you all support this decision. It's just that we need to make it in an appropriate manner. I think I'm hearing a desire on many people's part to at least have the conversation with the mayor, to have, I don't believe having conversation with the town council can occur unless there's some discussion with the mayor first. So tomorrow night, if I don't have a conversation with the mayor prior to that, and it's really not the forum for tomorrow night, which I think we understand, but have the conversation with the mayor. I think that in addition, we could firm up and make sure we have the full contingency explained and accounted for so we don't have a fuzzy number. But I do not want it to go past the instructional committee meeting, because I do not, again, I can't stress enough the timelines that are necessary to follow and make sure are followed by others going through purchasing. So I really can't give it more than that period of time, just because I would feel that we're jeopardizing the purchase. And I know none of you want that to occur. So the wheels of government sometimes don't work as fast as the wheels of education. So we're going to have to maybe speed them up, grease them a little bit more. And I'm not just saying local government, but even when I know that Mrs. Mashinsky is trying her best, but sometimes there's difficulties even on her end in her position. So we'll do our best.
So can we clarify, are all this equipment that's identified, is that needed for the fall or for the spring?
For the spring, but it has to be in.
I understand. It needs to go through the process. So your feeling is that the maximum wiggle room we have is till, say, September, September 6th, is that our instruction? Okay.
Yeah, because we have to prepare bids.
Right, I
and then
appreciate that.
We prepare them, but then they have to also go to town hall.
I kind of knew the answers to all those questions, but I'm just kind of framing it up for everybody. And I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. So that would be our dead drop date of September, I'm sorry, what'd you say, Pat? 6th is our, I'm going to be honest. I'm okay, if Dr. Menzo's okay with letting this ride to that as a drop dead date, and we're all sitting here listening to this, but I am not encouraged. We could be a sticky wicket, and we can have the discussion, and we can bring it up to town council, we can talk to the mayor. I don't expect a lot to change either. If you feel comfortable that you can delay it till September 6th, with that.
I would only recommend that, not out of the fact that I think things are going to change, but out of respect to the board members.
And that's where I'm going with this conversation.
And that's why I'm more doing it out of respect to them. And I would totally do that.
And I agree with you, that I understand that.
To afford them the same respect that we would want to be afforded in
correct,
everything
correct. I don't think a lot's going to change, but we could if that gives the comfort level to certain board members. Jay, I know you want to weigh in now at this point.
I can't hold off on my comment any longer.
Yeah, go ahead, go for it.
With all due respect to the board, I think that this issue has moved from a policy issue to an operations issue.
Yeah.
Our job as a board is policy. His job is operations. He's the chief operating officer.
Agreed.
The policy is, can that money be changed from the original use to now paying down the debt, or the original intention? Again, that's a policy issue. I think if we're concerned about it as a policy issue, somebody from the board should contact the appropriate person from the town. Mm-hmm. Don't put him in the middle of it. Okay. And if we are going to have him do it, then let him work through it. I mean, he's our chief operating officer.
Yeah.
But why hold it off? I mean, in the end, it sure seems it's going to happen anyway. So why put him through all this?
I mean, these items are needed. It's going to happen no matter what.
And we're on the eve of starting a new school year. I'm sure these people are inundated in all the preparation that they're doing for a new school year. Why have them involved in this a week before school's going to start? So I think we're really moving beyond our responsibility as a policy-making body into operations, and I don't think that's appropriate.
Mr. Votto, you seem to want to weigh in, or no?
The only thing I want to say is that I didn't realize this is not going to be used to the spring, these items, but your concern is the bidding process on those 4?
And that's a statement
I
right
just
there,
asked-
that it takes that long of a, that, you know, I mean, I think that's a statement right
I mean,
there.
Mr. Deptula, wouldn't you agree that the bid process will take us at least, by the time bids are created, they're approved by the town hall, because this is something new. This is not something that they're used to, and we have to make sure that we're not product specific, which tends to be a very significant challenge, getting things, and which is rightfully so, because it's unbiased if it's not product specific. But review of the bids, depending on the timing and what other bids are there, at least takes them at least 2 to 3 weeks by purchasing.
That's
And
correct.
then, right? And then after it's out, it has to be out for about a month, or at least 2 to 3 weeks.
Right.
So you're up to 6. And then you have to award it, and then you have to get the product. So
That's assuming everything goes exactly smooth, as smooth as it could be, right?
this is how we operate. It's
Yeah.
process.
Is there any rule that says we have to have the money in hand before we can start the bid process? In other words, why can't we?
Well, the challenge is that we can't, we could start the bid process. The challenge is that they don't usually like to go forward without, they don't like to do the work unless they know that the procurement is going to occur, because it is work on their part. We've been down this road before with some other opportunities, and I can understand that. They also, we can't hold bids for a period of time either, so that also is something that we fall into. So again, I think you're going to know your answer. If the desire is to get more clarification, you're going to know your answer within a matter of just a conversation with the mayor as to where we stand. That's going to be, you're going to know the answer. This isn't going to be a 2 weeks prolonged conversation from that perspective. Now, depending on what happens at the state, you know, with that, I can't speak for that timeline.
Probably not.
But locally, we'll know our answer. You know, we shouldn't have to wait longer than 2 weeks to get a clear understanding of where the town stands on this topic. That'll happen really quickly.
Roxanne?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would prefer to wait, you know, until September 6th. I mean, let it be known, you know, to the public what's going on. You know, you'll talk to the mayor will respond, and then, you know, if we have to get this, and I agree with everybody here, I think our main concern is with the children, but also we need to bring this to light. I mean, I think that's what we should do, is wait till the 6th. Because you said it's probably going to take a few days, right?
I would assume, again, the mayor, it was his first day back, so I'm not surprised I didn't receive a phone call, but I'm assuming I will reach out to him again tomorrow, and I'm assuming we could have a conversation.
Okay, so right now, the motion, well, what we've got is discussion and approval. So we have no motion right now. We're in a discussion mode. So I guess I'm looking for a motion, whether it is to act on this or to delay it with a maximum date of September 6th. I need something from somebody, so I'll react accordingly. Jay, you had your hand up first.
I'd like to make a motion to act on item 13-2, to vote on the approval, discuss the approval of the usage of the funds from contingency for the Lyman Hall Athletic Complex project.
Second.
Okay, I have a first and second. Any discussion at this point?
I need a clarification on the motion.
Go ahead.
Is it to act on it tonight or to make a motion to allow the superintendent to use the money from contingency?
I was confused.
Jay, could you clarify your motion? Please.
To approve the usage of funds from contingency.
Okay.
Is what this reads.
Okay,
Yeah.
so is everybody clear? Okay, so let's, so the record shows that the motion is to approve the usage. I want to make sure I'm saying this correctly by you, Jay, so
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I think the way it reads here reflects
Just
it,
exactly,
right?
approval of usage
of the
of
funds from contingency for the Lyman Hall Athletic Complex project.
As outlined for 87,900. Am I saying that
Right.
correctly for you? Okay.
Yes.
And I have a first and second, yeah,
Well,
and more discussion. Go ahead,
Yeah, I
Pat.
just have a question. So if I vote no for this, then do we take up when we're going to vote? Because again,
No, the motion does not suggest that. That doesn't
Okay.
mean another motion cannot be created to suggest that. But right now, the motion is very specific
Okay.
to state that we are approving the usage of that 87.9 as outlined here. So right now, that's the motion.
Okay.
And I've got a second. So thank you for your question. Any other questions?
I'd just like it to be a roll call. Is that okay?
Absolutely, I can do a roll call. That's not a problem. Any other questions? So is everybody clear about what the motion and the second represents? Yes? Okay. So can I get a roll call on that, please?
You need the microphone, Lynn.
Yes.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Mrs. Glidden?
No.
Mrs. Levesque?
Yes.
Mrs. McKay?
Yes.
Mr. Votto?
No.
Mrs. Caselli?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
no.
Okay. Thank you.
Did the motion pass?
We have three noes and 3 yes.
No,
We're missing-
we have 5
So,
yeses.
5 yeses.
Yeah, I just, you need to make that clear for us. So it's
Okay.
not coming from me.
So 5 yeses. We have Mrs. Dorr was a yes. Mr. Shea, yes. Glidden, no. Levesque was a yes. McKay, a yes. Votto, no. Castelli, yes. And Reynolds, no. Okay, so we have 5 yes and 3 noes.
So
The
right now,
motion passes.
the motion passes. So the motion passes for us to approve the usage right now of the 87.9. But you know what, I want to, I guess, I hear the plea of the noes, and I think both Dr. Menzo and I are committed. I don't want to speak for you,
no,
Dr.
I will-
Menzo, but I
Absolutely.
do respect the concerns of board members, and I'm sure there are, I don't want to speak for other board members, but I think we all share in the disappointment and the concerns that were articulated tonight, and I would like to think that both Dr. Menzo and I will bring those forth to the appropriate parties. Can you trust us to do that?
I will provide, for those board members who are not able to attend the meetings this week, I will make sure that I provide an update this Friday, as usual, in my packet.
Thank you.
Not only with the contingency number, but
We will
also
provide
with the
updates in
information
our
of this.
packet. Dr. Menzo, could you repeat? I'm sorry, Mr. Votto. Mr. Votto
I just
didn't
said
hear
that
what
I
you
will give you an update on my conversation with the mayor and any developments on this Friday in the packet, or if I don't see people, because not everybody is going to be at the meetings this week. So I'll make sure that either way you'll get it personally, up front, close and personal, or you'll get it on Friday in a packet. So I'll give you all that information.
Thank you, Dr. Menzo. Okay. I think we're all set with operations. Item 14, new business, we have none. Item 15, administration report. Dr. Menzo.
Yes, and I just wanted to ask all of you, and I didn't get a chance to talk to Ms. McKay about this, so I'm certain, though, that this would be acceptable. We did have the death of a longstanding principal in our district.
Yes.
And I would like to see if we could take a moment of silence in honor.
Thank you for
Ms.
saying
Crowley.
that. You know what, thank you.
So I know many staff members attended the wake last week. I was
This week.
actually in line, and 2 students, one of which I had traveled to China with, another student were in front of me, and they were there to pay their respects to Ms. Crowley for all of her hard work as an administrator. And it was really kind of special to hear them talk to her family about why they were there.
You know, I have to share that. Not to interrupt your
No, no.
report, but I also waited in a very long line for a tribute to a very special educator. And I was amazed at how many people were in line that were prior students. And so that meant those students in line were somewhere between a kindergartner to 5th grade when they were exposed to Mrs. Crowley and the impact that she had on them. And for them to stay in line and to articulate how I can't imagine from an educator's point of view, there is no greater gift. That you made an impact on their personal lives as primary grade, not even secondary, but primary grade, that it left an imprint on them that they wanted to wait in a very long line to share their story and share their enthusiasm for a principal and an educator that made it a huge imprint on them. So, Dr. Menzo, thank you so much for bringing that up, and I'm sure you have your own point of view on that. Yeah.
You know, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
I, having been on the board for so long, I did work with Pat a lot, Trish, and let me tell you something. She knew her stuff.
Yep.
And when she came to a board meeting, and I would question her on certain things, she gave it right back to me. She was something. She knew her stuff. She was always well prepared. And I mean, she's the person responsible for character counts in this town. I mean, that was a big thing at her school. I went to her for advice when I received my job, my present job. So I mean, she was really missed when she retired from here.
That's true.
And she was a hard act to follow. And she was really a true educator. And like you said, for those children to go there, that's a testament to that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that.
One of the things I wanted to mention, and it's funny, and
Are you going to talk about our new hire?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an amazing story.
You all know me by now, going on year 8.
Things happen for a reason.
That everything happens for a
reason. And this is a true, this story is amazing.
The new principal of Parker Farms, Christina Sagnella, was mentored by Trish Crowley. And so
they worked together in New Haven.
They worked together in New Haven. Christina actually, when Trish was in her final weeks, sent her a picture. She found a ruler that had Trish's name on it. She found a few other things, and she sent her pictures. And she said, "You will always be in this school as long as I'm here."
Yeah.
And so everything happens for a reason.
And you know, to your point, it was coincidental. I got in line to pay my respects, and our new principal was right behind me, and she shared that. I had no idea that she had a knowledge and a relationship with Trish Crowley, and it was so up close and personal, and how unbelievably appropriate that she is now the principal at Parker Farms, and she is totally dedicated. The Crowley family needs to know this. She is totally dedicated to honoring the legacy of the incredible work that Trish Crowley did over at Parker Farms, and the respect she has for her as an educator. And it was circumstance that I happened to be in line with her that she mentioned this. It was serendipitous, frankly.
And they recognized that because I must have missed you by 10, 15
maybe,
minutes.
I don't know.
Because I went through the line and they said, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah.
They mentioned you, and then they mentioned the new principal having been there.
It's
and how
really serendipitous.
So again,
thank you for bringing that up.
I just wanted, I didn't.
Thank you, Dr. Menzo. I totally was remiss for not paying respects initially. Thank you for saying that.
I didn't mind, but I just wanted to do that.
So glad you did that.
With that said, I just wanted to bring that up. We're obviously, as Jay Shea said, we're about a week away from school starting with our students, teachers. New teacher orientation started today. We have 3 days. So tomorrow we'll be back on, and then Thursday, teachers arrive. I know they're all waiting, and they're just dying to get back. So teachers will be arriving on Thursday, Friday. We're starting it a little differently this year, as I mentioned already. They start with a couple hours in their classrooms to set up classrooms. We know that, of course, it takes more than 2 hours, but we do some time for them to do that. And then they'll have professional development on Thursday and Friday. Monday, we will start off with our meet and greets, where families can come in and meet the new teachers, faculty meetings, and then we'll conclude the day at 12 at Lyman Hall with convocation, followed by an ice cream / Italian ice, I believe social for those who are lactose intolerant. So we will have that activity on Monday. We're looking forward to it. And then Tuesday, bright and early, all of our students, all 6,000 of them will be coming to town. So we're very excited about that. There's been a tremendous amount of work. I want to compliment Mark and his staff on all the work that they've done throughout the district this summer with all the building projects, renovation that's been going on. Also to Karen Vayu, who she and her staff, oh my gosh, the technology that's been going in. You're going to be so proud to see these K-5 schools, pre-K 5 schools. I got corrected by Mr. Arcero and Ms. Reed if I don't say pre-K. So pre-K 5 schools, we will actually try to offer times for board members. Obviously, you're invited to the buildings anytime you want, but to actually give some demos of the technology that have been put in the pre-K 5 schools, because it is truly state-of-the-art. We're definitely ahead of the curve in those areas due to the hard work of Ms. Vayu and all of her staff who have been really, really pushing out a lot of technology this summer. So we're very excited. So again, there's been a lot going on. We're ready to start. Thanks to the hard work of Mr. Parkhurst and his staff, curriculum is in a good place. As you know, Ms. Lavalette has been hiring, as you've been the recipients of all the approvals. We have a really great class of staff coming in this year. Mr. Mancusi and I were talking today about a few of the staff members that we're really excited to bring on in special education and in school psychology. So they were great. They were a great audience. They laughed at my jokes. So I'm going to bring them on my next stand-up gig that I will be doing hopefully at some point. But that's a story for another day. And I just also want to say thank you to Ed for taking on the role as interim business manager. It's been a great pleasure to work with him thus far and bringing his insights to the district from his wealth of experience has been really phenomenal. So we really appreciate that. And we look forward to our continued work with him over the next few months. So with that said, we look forward to next week. Hope to see everyone, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Dr. Menzo. And, you know, I don't think a lot of our families realize, though our schools aren't in session, the summertime is oftentimes more busy, more challenging for our administrative staffs, because they're trying to get all the work done so that our children come back to the best possible educational opportunities, so that whether that's involved in our physical beings, our facilities, or our educational opportunities, curriculum writing, it encompasses so much. And people don't realize that that's our heavy lifting time, frankly, is all summer long. So again, thank you, Dr. Menzo. And on behalf of Board of Ed, I want to give a shout out to all those staff and administrative members who commit all summer long to making it happen. So when our students do return next week, it's as smooth as silk as possible, and life is ready for them to embrace them and educate them. So it's a really important point. So thank you for highlighting that. I just want to identify in terms of announcements what our meeting schedule is going forward. I can't believe I'm talking about September, but the fact of the matter is Tuesday, September 6th is our instructional committee meeting, which will be held at our Board of Education offices in our conference on 100 South Turnpike Road at 7 p.m. Additionally, on Monday, September 12th is our operations committee meeting, also 7 p.m. at our Board of Education conference room at 100 South Turnpike Road. And then lastly, our televised meeting for September is September 26th here at the Robert Parisi Town Council Chambers at 7 p.m. So all are welcome to attend any of our meetings, of course. And with that, unless any board members have anything, please.
When is PTAC in September?
September 20th is the PTAC meeting?
September 20th, yes.
You
And it'll
good?
be at Board of Ed offices.
At Board of Ed offices at, again, 100 Turnpike Road, South Turnpike Road. Any other questions or comments from board? With that, our meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everybody.